Hello, YouTube. This is Insane Monster, and happy Halloween. Now, then, this is part one of What If Deku Was a Nergal Demon. If you haven't seen part zero yet, I suggest that you stop watching right now and go watch part zero. So, with that being said, hit it. Now then, as the day begins to start for Izuku, he's woken up by his sister, who full on jumped on his stomach as he gets annoyed, grabbing her with one of his tendrils, asking why she did that. She says, "Do the trick." At this point, his sister is 6. As for the trick in question, he just breathes fire using his pyrokinesis, controlling it to take the form of a dragon. Have it fly around, form it into a ball, then have it go, just kind of blow like a tiny firework, which his sister is happy with. As he gets dressed and gets going, he sees that his mom is about to go to work. Since Izuku's been getting older and more responsible, he's actually been uh, in charge of his sister whenever she's not around. So, yeah. Though this morning she was going out on patrol with her two other hero friends, Miriko and Ryoko, who stated hi as he was grabbing something to eat. Miriko remarks that he better make sure to keep training if he wants to get into UA like he says. But she says, "I know," as Miriko is then jolted by Imari's lightning. Next thing we see is Imari using her nergal powers to make, uh, I guess you would call demon motorized uh, roller skates as Miriko chases her down to get her back for it. With Izuku stating, "Yeah, I'm getting out of here before they break something." So, like in canon, he sees the fight with the large giantification villain with Kamui Woods and Mount Lady. So, yeah, he does still take notes and such to try to learn and see different ways he could try to use his powers, since he could use his Nergal demon powers to make anything he imagines. So, so he has to make sure he has some variety in what he can do. As he gets to school and such, it's all settled. Mina tells him hi while wrapping her arms around his neck from behind, with him saying, "Hey." Some of the classmates give them some looks, but that's just kind of typical. Which the same thing as in canon happens, where the teacher states that all of his students wants to be heroes, and he just tosses the papers up into the air. As then he remarks that 3 students are actually wanting to go to A. It seems Bakugo, Mina, and Izuku. Nobody's really surprised by that. They do have some powerful quirks that can be pretty useful for uh, fighting against villains and such. So, yeah. Afterwards, with Bakugo asking what they going to be doing for training, with Mina looking at him saying, "Oh, that's none of your business," as she just goes out the front door, still at the moment hiding her nergal demon powers, at least for now. She still hasn't figured out how to tell her family about this mess, so she ain't telling anybody else. As Deku just flares his wings and gets out of there before Bakugo can grill him about training and such, because he really wants to beat Deku. He's even uh, been able to come up with some things that he thinks could be of trouble for Deku if they ever did go into actual combat training together. So yeah, they meet up, like Mina and Deku meet up at the gate, stating that they'll meet at the usual place for training after they both go home and change. So they split. As we see Izuku going down the same alley as in canon, the sludge villain still comes, though this time Izuku traps him inside, I guess you could call it a pillar of fire, a green demon infused quirk pyrokinesis fire. It's the best, it's the most accurate way to describe it, but with this, the sludge villain can't get out, and anytime he tries to break out, he's just severely burning himself. Sludge villain or not, whatever that sludge is, it's still technically his body, so I'm assuming that it would get hurt if it get charred. As All Might then shows up, just seeing a giant green flame pillar. Obviously, Deku nerds out and such, asking for an autograph, which All Might does give, and then he asked if Izuku could pull down the thing he's using to trap the villain, which when he does, same as in canon, gets blown away and then bottled. As Izuku had a mom who had a scary quirk, like, or at least what people believe to be a quirk, who is a hero. So he doesn't really have any hangups about uh, feeling like people are gonna call him a villain or not. So yeah, All Might jumps away, but like in canon, the bottles fall out. So yeah, the explosion still happens. As that happens where Bakugo gets captured and all the heroes are having trouble trying to get Bakugo out of the sludge villain and such, with little to no success. So yeah, as Deku gets there and hears that the sludge villain caught a kid as a hostage, he looked over and saw Bakugo. Instantly, he rushed in, with his powers remarking, "Are we really saving that jackass?" Deku says, "Looks like it. I just kind of reacted." As then the tendrils just shoot out, creating a large hand, grabbing Bakugo through the sludge, ripping him clean out. As then the sludge villain tries to grab Bakugo, but is met with a blast coming from Izuku, making a blaster over his arm, which like I said before, in part 0, there is a link in the description down below in part 0, which I'll probably put in this video too, to the original comic to show the powers. Fair warning, the comic is a bit weird, and it kind of pushes the envelope in some areas. But back to the what if. As he does get Bakugo to the heroes, the sludge villain is just not having it, trying to do an all-out attack. Though Izuku forms his tendrils over one of his arms, creating a hardened shield. Now, visibly this looks like a shield made out of a number of green plates. Like I said, he can turn them into anything he wants. Though, this time, they're flared up with his green demon fire to prevent the sludge villain from getting really anywheres when attacking him. Which is when All Might gets in between him and the sludge villain using his Detroit Smash to literally change the weather with a single punch and defeat the villain. As the heroes are trying to scold Deku for what he did, or at least attempt to go to, he hurries up, sprouts his wings, and flies out of there, as he's not dealing with them. As he gets home, he grabs, he grabs Imari and heads out. So, yeah, he's fully changed, and along with Amari, they head out to go training. At least that was the original plan. Bakugo shows up, yelling at Izuku that he didn't need his help, and then storming away, with Amari asking what was that about. Next thing he knows, we see All Might burst through as he laughs, remarking how well he did to save his friend. And then he just deflates and spewts out blood, with Amari asking, why is there an All Might imposter here? And how does he know you? He just kind of thinks and says, I have no idea. He states that he is All Might, and asks to talk to Izuku alone, because he has something to tell him. Amari doesn't want to be left alone, even though thus he is pretty powerful. Izuku makes some noise-canceling headphones and puts it on her head, so he couldn't hear a thing, which she was being pouty about, bopping his head over and over again, with Izuku stating, okay, you should probably hurry and tell me, because I really want her to stop doing that. So he tells him everything about his injury, as well as one for all, stating that he wants to offer it to Izuku. He swallows a little bit and thinks, and states that, alright, if I do this, that I protect the people I care about, as well as anybody around me. All Might stated, of course you can. He smirked and said, alright, I'll do it. Afterwards, All Might gave him a slip of paper to meet up. He puts it in his pocket and removes the headphones, with Amari asking what he was telling her brother, with him stating nothing much. Apparently, he's going to train me. And yes, that apparently was the real All Might. I might have done something, with Amari asking, are you gonna get in trouble? With Izuku looking at her, stating, I hope not. As then they meet up with Mina, who is looking at Deku with a bit of a pouting face, which he is sure that this isn't going to be good. And she states, I saw the news. You went on and fought a villain? Really? You don't even have licenses yet. You know how much trouble you can get in for that? He scratches his head, saying, sorry, that dumbass was actually caught by that villain. Instantly, Mina recognizes who he's talking about, stating, oh, so Bakugo got captured and you just kind of went in without thinking, huh? With the tendril coming out of his back, stating, yes, he did. I honestly don't know why we saved him, because later on he caught up with us, stating that he didn't need our help, even though he was being choked out by that thing forcing its way down his throat. With Mina just stating, yeah, that's typical Bakugo. So they begin the practice. Amari practiced too using her powers, but not so much for combat. She just practiced making all kinds of things. As for Mina and Deku, they both flared up their wings. Mina just went with a single pair of wings and controlled them to get a purple color. Although they look like purple feathered wings, they aren't feathers, you know. So, yeah. And obviously, Mina's gonna control it to make it look purple since it seems to be one of her favorite colors. And yes, the power can make other colors than black, green, or red as they practice their aerial combat. As Mina shows off something she's been trying to figure out and finally got a rapid fire glove thing that basically shoots out rapid fire acid shots, which Izuku finds pretty interesting and how useful that could be. Next thing we see on what's being hit is a bunch of melted boulders and trees just being turned to goo. As Izuku creates the same flame shield, using it to burn away the acid. Then creating some armor over his other arm, which visibly is full on colored black. But demon flames are blaring out from the openings as he charges in. Nina goes to dodge and try to go around the shield, but it's shown that a tendril is being extended. The shield was bright and large to help block her vision, giving Izuku enough time to go in for a good strike. Nina was able to put up a modest shield, but was still blown back. Though she was able to create a tendril tail with a type of crane hook thing to grab his leg to bring him along for the ride. After that, when they crashed land, they just started laughing. And when they went to go check on Amari, we just see her riding a giant nergal creation teddy bear. With Mina trying so hard not to laugh at this, considering that the bear's black and green with demon eyes and that kind of stuff. It's a bit rough around the edges, so yeah. I mean, what do you expect from a 6-year-old? As Mina tells Amari that you want to see what I can make to ride? With Amari furious, Mina uses her power to make a lion with horns. The lion is black and green in the color of its body with a red colored mane as well as red horns. As then she just goes, "Aw," saying, "That's a big kitty." With Izuku picking Amari up, saying, "How about this? Making basically a nergal war horse kind of thing." With her being excited, being set down on its back as they go running around in the secluded area where they train. It's an area where Inko found, and it is actually a pretty good place for training without anybody being there to see. After they had their fun, they did go back home. So as Zuko and Amari got home, Inko was waiting for them at home because she heard about what happened. Yeah, the news blared that all over the TVs everywhere. As he scolded Deku uh, for using his powers like that without being licensed or anything, but sighs, remarking that he did a good job saving his friend. Even though he is a bit loud, he's not necessarily a bad person. With Asta remarking, I know, and Amari asking, do you mean the exploding head guy? With Inko stating, you mean exploding hands. Bakugo, right? Remember? He just looks at her mom stating, no, exploding head. He's always yelling and such and looks like his head's about to pop. I keep waiting for it, but it never happens. Which Izuku is having a hard time holding in his laugh as he heads over to his room. As he meets All Might on the beach. All Might shows him what he's going to be doing for his training, cleaning the whole beach to make sure he has enough muscle mass. He gave uh, his mom and Mina and such a heads up on his training that he'll be doing kind of solo. So, yeah. So, Deku thought it wasn't quite right to take on such a secret like this and the power without letting All Might know. So, he sat down with All Might for a minute and told him that he actually had a quirk and demon powers. All Might just looked at him, thinking, oh dear God, is he one of those? If you've seen a number of animes, then you might know what I'm talking about. If you don't, I'm gonna let you stew in trying to figure out what it is I'm talking about. He stayed. No, 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 All Might. I'm being actually serious. Hang on. As he has his tendril go to the back of All Might's neck, which does surprise him. Though it's something he thought could work, and actually glad it did. Over time, the nergal demons have evolved in some of their abilities, along with the humans evolving with their quirks, since primarily their genetics are humans. So obviously they are also going to evolve due to this in some different ways. While in the mindscape we see Izuku, All Might, as well as his powers taking on the form of a large man kind of thing. Though its body does have a definite amount of muscle mass, it still has a number of eyes, teeth, and such poking out of it. With then All Might asking, where are we? Izuku remarks that it's kind of like a mindscape thing. As then we hear Nergal state, oh, an unexpected visitor you brought. Hello, as All Might looks back, Nergal, asking who is he? As Nergal introduces himself and begins to explain where they are and what exactly is going on. Not just with the situation right now, but with Izuku's bloodline on his mom's side. Giving some details, All Might's kind of freaking, though he does know about his mom is a hero, and considering that she's actually seems to be a decent hero that cares about people, and how Izuku's similar in that respect and such. So he kind of gets it, though asks, how powerful are they? Nergal states that although they are powerful, they aren't invincible. In the past, the their, their ancestors were hunted down by people wishing to take their powers from them. But our powers aren't something that can be taken, it can only be given. as he explains the process of a nergal demon power transfer, with All Might remarking that it's somewhat similar in a way to the transferring of power of one for all. This does take Nergal by surprise and piques his interest as he asks what exactly it is. Since they're in Izuku's mind and such, he figures it's not a problem, so he tells him that currently he's the 8th user and such. As Nergal then walks up to him and notices something. Yes, yes, there seems to be traces of 7 others inside you. This takes All Might back as he asks, what does he mean? He then states, well, when the Nurgle demon's power is transferred, it's like it's taken a part of them, like a part of their essence, putting it into them, by definition causing them to somewhat live on within them in a manner of speaking. It's not exactly the kind of thing that could be properly explained. At least by normal standards, at least. It gets kind of weird. But either way, it's somewhat similar. You seem to have traces of what I can tell are the souls of the past users within you. Catching All Might by surprise as he then states, well, there is a mile marker where the user of this power will actually see a vision of past users before them. As Nurgle just smirks, saying fascinating, as he then is satisfied with this conversation and states that, so, is that everything you need to know, Mr. All Might? With him stating, yes, it is. I'm glad he trusted me with this knowledge. Afterwards, they get to work. All, All Might does work Deku pretty good with cleaning up the beach, such. And Deku is actually getting more muscle mass than he already did, so that's a bonus. Next thing, no, it's about 5 months past, and we see that the beach is entirely cleaned up. As All Might congratulates him, he then plucks a hair and says, eat this, with Izuku having the same face as in canon, but this time we see a tendril with an eyeball just looking at All Might the with a weird, somehow you can tell it's thinking what the hell kind of look, even though it only is an eyeball on a tendril kind of thing, but it's weird. So he goes ahead and eats it and is trying not to gag. As he states, I think I actually prefer the eyeball thing rather than having to eat somebody's hair. With with his power remarking, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I completely agree with you on that. That just looked wrong. After some time, he digested the power and figured he should try using it with his quirk. All Might filled him in that it would enhance his quirk a good bit. So he stuck out his hand towards the ocean. Next thing he knows, he's firing a giant green flame pillar out into the ocean, freaking pulling a Moses. Well, so yeah. So this actually, as it turns out, the enhanced power from One for All has also enhanced his demon energy since his quirk and Nurgle demon powers are intertwined with one another. So yeah, the Nurgle demons in the town he's in all sense this incredible spike of power, which would be his mom, his sister, and his girlfriend Mina, who has the power due to a transfer of powers rather than being born with it. Like I said in the beginning, part 0. So, yeah. Afterwards, he does see that he got his hands a bit singed, but it's not much of a problem. Next, he tries using the nergal blaster arm, though it is greatly enhanced, to the point where it's hard to keep the blaster together and not have it burst on him. With his power reacting thing, we gotta learn how to manage that. Or at least focus more on reinforcing it so it doesn't blow up on us. The Zuko remarks, agreed. All Might can't hear what his power is saying, though he does know it's sentient, and can tell that he was having some trouble with the blaster portion. Next thing he tried was the physical part. So he juices up the power in his arm, though that the Nurgle demon powers, let's just call them that N, states that it doesn't feel right. Try spreading it around across our entire body. So he tries that and feels actually pretty evened out. And he feels incredible. So he goes for a smash and blows the water just back. Currently, he's able to handle about 70% of One for All at his current peak. This is due to his normal muscle mass, not accounting for the amount of power that's added on due to the demon energy that increases his strength already. So yeah, I'm measuring this by muscle mass, not, by actual strength from already existing power. So next, so All Might gives him the details on some things to look out for. Since it doesn't seem he has full power yet, if he goes over to 100%, he could break his bones and such, which would not be good. And he agrees that doesn't sound very pleasant. So they then begin to train, this time with sparring, with Deku going full armor mode, even going as far as to get the flame shield out, as well as a big spiked mace. More or less a giant metal looking club with big spikes. Though All Might looks at him stating, "You might want to dial it down a bit. I'm maybe still the #1 hero, but I'm still human and I'm still injured." Which he kinda forgot, so he rounded them off. He got a little bit too excited and apologized to All Might, as then they begin their training. He does hold up pretty well, taking full advantage of his ability of fly, though didn't do much when All Might used wind pressure to bounce around him, smacking him straight into the beach. With All Might stating that he has to get used to the high speed concept of using his power, that it's very important. He also makes notes that he has to limit the amount of power he uses. Otherwise, he can end up killing somebody very easily on accident. Zuko understands, as after the training, he goes home. Now then, once everything happened on the beach with their training, we see a clip, which is more of a flashback of when Inko, Imari, and Mina sensed this. Where we have Inko calling their daughter's school to make sure everything's right with with little Imari, as the teacher stated that she just had a blank stare on her face for a little bit. And as she described the time it was when it happened, Inko realized that she sensed it too, so it could either have come from Mina or Deku. So she called Mina because for some reason she couldn't get a hold of Izuku and asked if she did something with her powers to give off an insane amount of energy. Mina stated no, but she did sense that influx of power. Is that Izuku? Inko says probably. Well, actually, it is. I already checked. Imari hasn't done anything, and if it isn't you and if it isn't me, it has to be Izuku. So they get the suspicious look on their both of their faces over the phone, thinking, "What? What is he doing?" So when he gets home, we see like we see full on Inko, Mina, and Imari wearing sunglasses sitting at the table, telling him, "Please sit down." Mina's crazy self has affected Izuku's mom as well as his younger sister, and he just realized how much power he was putting out, testing his capabilities with One for All, only now realizing how much demon energy he was probably putting out as well. He sat down as they interrogated him. He states that um, it's something that he himself probably isn't allowed to state. It has something to do with his training, but the person who's been helping him, as Inko then states, "All right, then who is he? Who's been helping you train? Who's caused such an influx of power to happen inside you?" As he just states, it's hard to explain. Look, I gotta make a call, and so give me a minute." He just walks over and makes a call to All Might, stating that he's been found out. With All Might asking, "What are you talking about?" He states that the One for All is powering up his quirk and his demon energy. As he reminds All Might that they're both intertwined, and that his mom, sister, and girlfriend all sensed that massive blast of power, and now he's kind of cornered. All Might then just kind of head slaps and states, "I'll be right there," as Izuku gives him directions over the phone. Goes back and sits, stating that he'll be here in a bit. Once All Might gets there, Inko just sees a skeleton guy, asking who he is. As he states, he's the one who trained is young Midoriya. So Inko lets him in, as it is then explained, which Imari is then put into her bedroom since she full on conked out. She's still sick, so yeah. So Inko and Mina are given the rundown on what exactly happened, considering that it can't be hidden from them since they can feel the amount of power he's putting out. So yeah. And we have Inko being just shocked by this, with Mina being excited about how incredible that is. Inko asked, "How much of a secret is this?" With All Might stating that there's like He includes about 5 people that know about his power, which are Night Eye, Gran Torino, Nezu, Recovery Girl, and his police officer friend. As he states, those are besides young Midoriya, of course. With you, that adds up to a total of people who don't have it to 7. As he sighs, stating that he would have preferred to have been known or, told about this beforehand, but Dooku states that it wasn't exactly his secret to tell, with Inko chiming in stating, but you did apparently tell him about our heritage, with him stating, well, it is a secret I am allowed to tell, I guess, since I was born with it, right? With Inko not having a pleased face, and Izuku dropping his head, saying, sorry. So, after everything calmed down, they did relax and talk things over. Inko was just glad that nothing was wrong with her son, and also demanded the All Might as he walked into the door, stating, look after my son, okay? If anything happens to him because of this, I'm coming after you. Which All Might is taking this very seriously, considering that she also has demon powers. So he does not want to mess with this. It's not a good idea to mess with a mother's child to begin with. Makes it even worse when that said mother has demon powers. So after that, things go somewhat normal with training on the beach and in their secluded area like normal, though this time we have All Might training Izuku and Mina to help get them ready for the UA exam. And this continues until the day of the exam itself. So this is where I'll be leaving this part off. I do hope you enjoyed. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Also remember to hit that notification bell. So, see you later.